The Partial Breakaway Podcast with your hosts Nick and Junior and producer Vince, bringing you elite fantasy hockey information to help you win your fantasy leagues and win at life.
Episode 175 of the Partial Breakaway Fantasy Hockey Podcast. I'm co-host Junior, accompanied as usual by co-host Nick and producer Vince. We are back.
Back again.
Where do we go?
Where do we go now? Where do we go? It's team preview time, guys. It's been a long time.
It's off season.
Yeah.
And I think one of the coolest part about the offseason is that we could break down each team and go through all 32 teams, which is a lot.
It's a grind.
It's a grind. And we're going to have 32 episodes, one per team.
Yeah.
And this year, we have a little bit of a different format. We're going to try to keep the episodes within 25
minutes.
to 35 minutes. Yeah. And pray for the best.
Yeah. And like
we'll try getting some new guests.
Yeah. If Junior starts talking too much, we'll just mute him and that's it.
All right. Well, today we're breaking down the Vancouver Canucks. They enter a new chapter focusing on developing their young talent, building around their core.
What are they doing?
And creating a strong foundation for the future. We will be breaking down which players are fantasy relevant, which ones are due for a breakout, and which ones to stay away from. But before all that, let me remind you to follow us on our social media. X, Instagram, TikTok, at Partial Break Pod. Like and subscribe on YouTube where you can catch all of the clips of each episode. And leave us a review, guys. 5-star review as usual, please. And let us know what you think. And engage in our social posts for sure. Sorry, I cut you off there.
No, not at all. I just wanted to mention why we're starting with the Vancouver Canucks. So during our team previews, we decided that instead of following what everybody else does, which is alphabetical order or reverse alphabetical order, producer Vince decided that we're going to start division by division. Mm-hmm. And we're starting today with a Pacific division.
Yeah.
And we're going to continue Pacific division and then move on to most likely
stay in the West.
So stay in the West and complete the
Western Conference and then hit the Eastern Conference a little later.
Beautiful.
All right. So who's in and who's out? Vancouver Canucks. Well, first off, they have a brand new coach. Father, Manny Malhotra. Who's out? Marcus Pettersson, Evander Kane, Teddy Bluger. Who's in? Brendan Gallagher, Jamie Oleksiak, Paul Cotter, and Luke Shen. Last year, if I can just get this here, we're going to recap their stats a little bit here. In 2025-2026 season, they had a record of 25, 49, and 8 for a league worst 32nd place. Goals for, not quite the worst, but second worst, 31st, with only 210 goals for. Goals against, they ranked last, 32nd, 314 goals against. That's a minus 104 goals differential, by the way. Power play, 14th in the league, shockingly, 14th at 21.79%, and penalty kill, dead last, 71.49%. Safe to say this is not the best fantasy reliable team. That makes any sense, but yeah. Okay, so the way we're going to do this year is we're going to break down the players into tiers, fantasy tiers. So tier 1 is fantasy star, tier 2 is reliable starters, tier 3 is supporting cast, tier 4 is streamers, and tier 5 is players to avoid. Again, all fantasy related, not necessarily NHL team related.
And like fantasy stars, we're talking about players that are over a point per game players, and like not every team has a fantasy star that we can talk about. Some teams only have a supporting cast, others have reliable starters. So it'll be interesting to see where we can put in some of these players and help people's fantasy hockey leagues for the upcoming year.
Yeah, and Vancouver Canucks, well, they don't have a fantasy star. At one point, we might have thought they had one, but no fantasy stars for the Vancouver Canucks. And according to yours truly here, us three, they don't have any tier 2 reliable starters either. Might be slightly debatable. but we'll get to it at tier 3 here. So tier 3 supporting cast, we've got 3 players. Nick, you want to tell us about those 3 players?
Well, we're going to start off with Brock Besser. And Brock Besser was one of the top expected goals for on the team. He was actually second to Jake DeBrusk, believe it or not. He had a 22.7 expected goals for, and he ended up with 23 goals. So pretty much right. Was it 23?
22.
22 goals. So right where his expected goals mark was landing. Now, as a supporting cast member, he also is a player that had 48 points. So not quite great necessarily. However, 20 of those were primary assists, which means that he was one of the creators on that team. If we look at Brock Besser, if he keeps that top power play role, which he should,
Yeah.
there's nobody else really vying for that top play. He's the best shooter that they have. He doesn't create much on his own, but he is somebody that gets the ice time and should be putting up one of the top points in this team. If he scores 30 again, it's quite a value there.
I just want to add that out of his 26 assists, was that it? 20 of them are primary assists.
I mentioned the primary assists. I didn't say the total assist number, but yes, out of 26 assists, 20 of them were primary. So he's one of the creators on this team, whether it's by rebounds, shooting and getting rebounds, or if it's actually passing, he's getting points. So he's one of the more, I would say, players that's reliable on this team.
Yeah, listen, in 9 season, he only hit 73 points or over 60 points once, which was in 23-24. He hit 73 points. After that, he varied between 45 and 56. So that's why at the end of the day, we put him in the supporting cast role. But he does score. So, I mean, 23, 23, 40, 25, 22, 1 year 18. So he might have the potential to score 30. This year for Vancouver, I mean, we can say it's gonna be a clear, not a non-pressure year for them, right? So some players might just be free to do what they want. I mean, there'll be structure, but I think there'll be a bit more freedom, a longer leash for them just to perform and get seats in the arena at some point. So
And new coach too, right? So like a little bit of a boost, at least to start the season. It should be interesting to see maybe the style of play maybe generates more goals and they can improve on the 31st best or worst. But the 40 goals outlier, the 40 goals in 2023, 2024, can he ever do that again? Not regularly, right?
The problem with that is he needs someone to support him in that role, right? So the question is, can Elias Persson be a 70-point player? If Persson could be a 70-point player, well then Besser could maybe be a 30-goal scorer, 30, 35. 40, I do not think he could be.
Next up on our supporting cast is Ziv Buyam, acquired last year from the Minnesota Wild. Nick, we have him here as a supporting cast. Is there a chance that he'll be a reliable starter next year?
Well, I think that we've put him at supporting cast because we're projecting him to have an improvement over last year's 26 points. So we're projecting him to be higher than that this year, based solely on he's getting more ice. He's going to get more ice time, especially that they got rid of Marcus Pettersson. So now all of a sudden the ice time is going to go up for Ziv Buyam. Maybe a higher power play role, maybe not. We'll see about that. We're going to have to look at the camp results and see how training camp goes. He had 26 points only last year, so he's not a reliable starter, or he's not a supporting cast necessarily, unless he gets into the 30s, I think, 35.
As a defenseman.
As a defenseman. So for now, we've put him supporting cast because we believe he could get there.
Yeah, at his age, 20 years old, I think he's still young enough. He does have Hornick in front of him, but at the end of the day, I think they hope he is the next player up for them to project this team into the future. So I believe he can play off of that 26 points and be better. But also, new coach, new system. We never know what's going to happen in a situation like that.
Yeah, I was trying to look up how much power play time he had just with Vancouver, but it's kind of irrelevant now that they have a new coach. Someone who is not irrelevant is Philip Roenick, who makes the list on the supporting cast, Tier 3, the partial breakaway Tier 3. Quietly, he's a regular 40-point defenseman, which would rank him between 20 and 25 amongst defensemen year in and year out. So, Vince, I'll hand it over to you here. Philip Roenick had 49 points last year. We expected more of the same?
Yeah, I believe so. I think he'll be the number one power play guy to start the season because he's a veteran and he can control that blue line. I mean, he's going to get minutes for sure with this team. 48 points in 2023-2024, 40 points in 61 games in 24-25, 33 points in 61 games, 49 points in 82 games in 25-26. When you're hitting close to 50 points, it's as a defenseman, you're almost in that top 20 defenseman point scoring. So he's going to be the defenseman to be the fantasy relevant defenseman for the Vancouver Canucks right now this year. So I believe he can still put up those points as long as he still stays healthy, and it seems like he could stay healthy.
I think the only reason we didn't put him as reliable starter is because he had 19 secondary assists last year, and secondary assists have a lot to do with luck. So if those secondary assists drop by half, which is very possible because it's all luck based, then he goes from 49 points to 40 points or 39 points. So now you're reaching that supporting cast level. And that's what I'm predicting for next year. I think Zeev Williams is going to take a step up. Hronik might take a small step down. And that's why I have them both as tier 3 supporting cast. What saves Hronik is that he has the most ice time out of all defensemen on this team. So he's going to be on the ice a lot.
Yeah.
And that's what's going to keep getting him some sort of exposure to be able to get those points. I just I can't guarantee 49 points again next year, and I don't think he's going to be that relevant because 49 points, I mean, you said top 25, 49 points is like top 15, for defensemen. So I just don't think he's there.
And from a fantasy perspective, too, another reason is he's not a double-digit scorer as a defenseman, so that kind of brings him down a little bit, too.
For our fantasy podcast,
Yeah.
yes.
So tier 4, streamers. We've got 3 players on this list. Let's start with a young guy who kind of came into the NHL last year and played quite a bit, actually. Tom Willander, Vince. This is like if a Buyam or Roenick gets hurt, you want to throw in a Tom Willander because he's going to get more opportunity, but he's not someone that you could rely on a weekly basis, correct?
Well, he got 21 points in 70 games last year. Buyam got 26. So when one of those players, I think Buyam missed a few games, and that's how he took the ice time of Buyam. So I feel he could be that offensive guy, that number 2 offensive guy on this team. Right now, he's playing third fiddle to Hronik and Buyam, but he's 20 years old. So especially in the Dynasty League, you hold on to this guy and wait to see what this team actually projects to be, right? And where he can put himself in. So I feel he could be a guy that you pick up 1 week. If there's an injury to one of the Vancouver defensemen, he can take over that role and produce at that role if necessary.
Yeah, I think a lot more value dynasty than next year's redraft.
Yeah, no redrafts. You're not drafting anybody. We're saying in streamers, you're not drafting them. These are guys you pick up off of waivers probably, and stuff like that during the season.
Yeah, like you're going to be opportunistic with these guys. At least Tom Willander. Maybe the next 2 guys might turn out to be players you can rely on. We'll see. But the next guy on the list is Marco Rossi. Marco Rossi, again, another injured, riddled season last year.
35 points.
Switched teams. Only played 50 games, 35 points. Nick, why do we have him here as a streamer and not as a supporting cast or a reliable starter?
I just think that, again, you're talking about yet another guy that's probably not going to hit more than 50 points in a season.
That's a pretty bold take.
Yeah? You think he's not going to hit 50? You think he's going to hit higher?
No, I think a lot of people are expecting him to hit higher.
Yeah, maybe. But Elias Pettersson had 51 points last season, and he played 24 games more than Marco Rossi. Wow. So if I'm projecting Marco Rossi to have the same amount of points as Elias Pettersson on a second line, not a top line, I don't know. This is so hard to predict, right? It all depends on how the coach has these guys, and it is guys like Braden Coots going to come in this year? Is he going to stay in the AHL this year? That could affect Marco Rossi's ice time. I don't know. I think there's a lot up in the air with this team. Marco Rossi, 12 goals. I think he could hit 20, and maybe 30 assists for a 50-point season.
In the 2 seasons with Minnesota where he played 82 games, he hit over 20 goals, 21 and 24.
Yeah,
so he can do it.
Yeah, I think he can, yeah.
He was also playing with Kaprizov on his line, right? So
No.
on the power play he was playing with Kaprizov.
Yeah, on the power play.
You're right.
So like Rossi's not a line driver, so he needs someone to support him on the line. And unfortunately, Vancouver's lineup doesn't seem like they have that. That's where I feel that's where the struggle is going to come from Marco Rossi.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, this is a waiver wire pickup for me. Like in the season, if he's on a hot streak or if they have
Well, if they keep up those power play numbers, he's definitely going to be on that power play one.
Yeah.
So that could help him a lot. Like 14 of his 35 points came on the power play last year.
Yeah, but to play devil's advocate, they also only scored 210 points, which is 210 goals, which is the least in the league, right? So to get points, your team needs to score, and they don't score very much.
He's also pretty decent on the face-off circle,
Yes.
which will help his ice time.
Yeah.
His assists per 60 are up there, 1.58 assists per 60. It's one of the top on this team. So there's a chance here that he could become a 55-point player for this team. I just don't predict much more than that.
What's funny looking at Rossi's stats, though, is like last year's shooting percentage was 18. The year before, 17. So he's got like a high shooting percentage back-to-back seasons for a guy who scored 24 and 12, which was pacing for about 20 last year. Doesn't shoot a lot. So if he doesn't score, if he doesn't get you points, he's not giving you anything else. And that's the danger of Marco Rossi. The third guy on this streamers list is Jake DeBrusk.
Oh, I have something to say about Jake.
Oh, Jake. Jake DeBrusk had in 81 games, had 23 goals last year, 19 assists, and 42 points. 24 of those 42 points were on the power play. Nick, tell us what you got to say about Jake DeBrusk.
So this guy is absolutely incredible in creating scoring chances for himself. Okay, expected goals for is the best on this team. He has a 34.9 expected goals for. The problem is that he gets into the prime position to score and he has cement hands. He has absolutely he misses the net. He doesn't know what he's doing when he gets up close. But to get there, he's great. And then he just doesn't do anything with it. And 42 points when you could have had 35 goals.
That's mental, man.
Is a little bit.
That's a plus 12 goal differential from his goals and expected goals, man.
But if he could get that together, he's got a nice contract as a winger.
When is he going to get it together, though?
He's
At
30 years old.
He's turning 30.
But that's what I'm saying. Even if he can get it together for one season, that's what Vancouver wants, right? Get it together this year so I can trade you away to someone and get something in return. Because right now they had him on the market. It's just no one's biting because, like Nick said,
but he's always been really high at expected goals for.
Always. Even with when he was with Boston, it was the exact same thing. It's just he doesn't have that finishing killer instinct shot. Or
he's never had more than 50 points.
No, it's goals. He gets close to 30 goals. Like 20.
Yeah. He could be a regular 25 goal scorer, I think is safe to assume. Guys, he shoots a lot. 219 shots on goal last year. Like, he's missing the point production, but like everything else, it's there. Like the opportunities, the shots on goal. the power play time might drop a little bit this year, I think.
But I like where we have him as a streamer, not as a supporting cast member necessarily, but somebody that you could throw in, pick him up for a week if you really need somebody for that position, and then
Like if you see Jake DeBrusk back-to-back games, a goal, a couple multi-point, pick him up. That means he's starting his streak. He's a streaky guy.
yeah.
He just doesn't have many of them, but he's a streaky guy. Lastly, we're going to move on to the players to avoid. And this, I'm going to put all three here, and we'll discuss them all in one discussion. Tier 5 players to avoid: Elias Pettersson, Thatcher Demko,
Who wants to walk with Elias?
and Philip Hedl. I think what two of these three have in common, and the other one is probably safe to assume we just don't know what's happening. What's happening with Elias Pettersson? Who is the real Elias Pettersson, and are you walking with him, Nick?
So I think the Elias Pettersson to avoid is based on two things. In redraft leagues, he might still be drafted high because of his name value. So a lot of people will probably use his name value as it's Elias Pettersson. I got him in the 7th round. Yeah, but he only gets 51 points, or he only gets 50 points. That's not really. You could wait a little bit longer for that. So I think he's going to be overdrafted simply because of his namesake. So if you want to save draft capital in redraft leagues for later on, I would just avoid Elias Pettersson altogether. The other person that I would avoid, obviously, is in cap leagues.
Yeah,
Elias Pettersson in cap leagues
yeah.
is to avoid. $11 million for 50-something points.
It's not worth it.
Is not worth it. I mean, you're talking about $2 million per point. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's the math doesn't actually add up there, but it's not worth it. It's just not worth it.
I agree.
And the other two guys, Demko and I'm going to say his name wrong.
Philip Hedl.
Hedl. I was going to say Sheedle.
You always said Cheeto in the past.
They're just injury prone. You can't depend.
Can't rely on them.
No,
Yeah.
You can't rely on them. So
You're right about Pettersson. There's always those people that are going to say, "Oh, this is the year he comes back to the real."
Yeah.
There's always every year you're going to have that person who's going to draft him and probably higher than you should.
I'll even add just very, very quickly because I know we're running out of time, but I would just add that Elias Pettersson, he's not going to come back to that 100-point player. He's not going to come back to the 90-point player. Right now, unless he leaves Vancouver. And then there's, who knows, everything's up in the air again, right? By the way, I believe that we have a project in the works that has been quite revolutionary for fantasy manager cap leagues. And we're hoping to unveil it soon so that we could actually claim it as ours.
Yes.
But it will be should I just preview it quickly? Like
You can
like
give it a little sneak peek.
Sneak peek. So this is based on Cap League Value Index or a Cap League Value Chart.
Yeah.
And basically, it's going to be Partial Breakaway's own
Formula.
formula that bases it on your fantasy points and the salary of this player and how worth it this
and
player
your
is.
age and the length of the contract, right? So there's
Security is in there. Contract
opportunity,
security, opportunity,
deployment,
age, growth or regression. All of that is in our calculation, and we're really looking forward to unveiling it soon and actually naming it properly.
Yeah, exactly. So you know what? I think it's a good time for a sponsor break.
Just like and subscribe.
It all comes down to this. Well, it doesn't quite come down to this, but it is the off season and it's time for team previews here at Partial Breakaway. And DraftKings Sports app is now available in all 50 states and includes all markets. Sweat every shift of the series all in one place in one app. The new DraftKings customers sign up with the code THPN, spend $5 to get $200 in rewards within 21 days. That's code THPN. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours.
With DK Sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 1-800-MY-RESET. New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. Connecticut, call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino in Kansas, that text pass-through may apply in Illinois. 21 and over. Void in Ontario. Event contract trading with DraftKings predictions involves risk of loss. Sportsbook bonus bets expire in 7 days. $50 in predictions dollars issued weekly for 3 weeks expire in 1 year. Redeem one non-withdrawable reward. Availability varies. Predictions offer void in New York. Ends June 28. Terms at dkng.co/audio.
All right, we're back here, and we're going to jump straight to the goalies. So we spoke with Thatcher Demko already. The other goalie is Kevin Lankinen, who's done half decent, not quite last year, but has been pretty reliable for them. And Nikita Tolopilo. So we kind of mentioned Demko, guys. He's avoid at all costs because of his injury.
I think all these guys are
History.
I think all these guys are avoid at all costs just because the team's not very good, right? And the goals against, they were 31st or first, no, again, for most goals against.
They were the worst in the league.
The worst in the league. So
Or 31st.
yeah, so you can't have one of these goals on your team. It's not
So-
gonna
Well, I will say that Thatcher Demko is the only goalie out of these three that we're going to mention that actually had a goal save above expected in the positives. He was +2 goals above expected. So he the talent is there with Thatcher Demko. The problem really is that he only played 20 games last year. He's always injured. You know, that's the part that really hurts.
Thatcher Demko had played 20 games, 8 wins, 10 losses, 1 overtime loss. Goals against average 285, save percentage 897. Decent. Kevin Lankinen in 47 games had a 3.7 goals against average and an 875 save percentage. And Tolopilo in 21 games had 3.61 goals against average and 881 save percentage. Safe to say you can't rely on any of these guys, really.
Well, I would say that Lankinen would be the only volume starter that you could really rely on.
Yeah.
But he was a negative 19.3 for goals saved above expected. So not the best performing necessarily.
All right, so we're going to move on to the prospects. And the prospect of note here is son of Manny Malhotra, coach of the Vancouver Canucks. Caleb Malhotra, drafted 3rd overall this year. Adam Novotny, who was also drafted in the 1st round this year. And Braden Coots, who is flirting with an NHL spot. And maybe we'll get into it a little bit, guys. But you know what? I'll hand it over to Vince first. Which of these three right now do you think, who's relevant now and who's most relevant later?
Well, the most relevant now is Coots because he might have an opportunity to make this team. And if you do make this team, then you have an opportunity to moving up in the lineup if you perform. For Malhotra and Novotny, listen, every fantasy people we spoke to weren't very high fantasy-wise with Malhotra. So...
Oh, we got a lot of heat, for that clip with Victor Nuno. Oh,
so
wow.
yeah, so not a lot of people are high on Malhotra being like that number 1 centerman that will give you those points. So, right now in the prospects, it's Coots for them for this year because he has a good chance of breaking the lineup, and as long as he's in the lineup, he can improve by going up in the lineup and having a good season.
Well, right. So we're not very high on the points for Malhotra because our expert, Victor Nuno, stated that he's not very high for points for Caleb Malhotra, but he's still going to be a very good NHLer and a very probable NHLer. So
He might fit in our supporting cast tier.
Now, the question I have is, I think he's for sure this year going back.
He should.
He should.
He should.
But can you imagine out of camp, he surprises some people? Last year's surprise out of camp was Coots.
Yeah.
And he
played 3 games.
He played 3 games and they sent him back, which was great for his development because he needed to go back. I think it was too early for Coots. But this year, he could seriously build himself a role out of camp, especially if you're expecting Hero to get injured again.
Yeah.
Which nobody is hoping for that. I'm just saying that that seems to be the pattern. The trend, right? So Kuz could have an opportunity.
Malhotra needs to go back. It's the first year he's going back into the NCAA this year. So he's not going back to the juniors. So there's no reason for Vancouver to take him on the team. So hopefully he'll go back and develop. He could be a future captain for this team. It's just they're not expecting him to be that 90, 100-point player. Like, we're not saying he's a bad player. He's just
I think his career is going to be around
70 points, exactly.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to give cap leagues a little love because we feel like they don't get any. And we're going to look here at the best contract per production and the worst contract per production in our eyes. So the best contract on this team, based off what he does, is Brock Besser, 6 years, $7.25 million. And the worst contract, as expected, 6 years, $11.6 million, Elias Pettersson.
I'll say again, Brock Besser, if he hits 30 goals, 7.25 for the next 6 years is great if he hits 30 goals consistently.
Yeah.
But other than that, if he's hitting 23, he's not worth it.
Okay, let's go to a little rapid fire here, which is going to be basically I'm going to give you guys, and then I'll add in at the end. You get one choice between must draft, draft if the value drops, late round flyer, watch list, and breakout candidate. So you each name me one of any of those categories. Vince.
I chose the late round flyer and I put Jake DeBrusk. I think this offseason he moisturized his hands so they're not made out of cement, like Nick said. And
so his stick is going to
they'll,
be loose.
They'll be a bit more smoother, and he'll be a great late round flyer for teams that pick him up.
So how often do you lubricate your hands?
Ooh, wouldn't you want to know?
I picked must draft Zeev Buyam. Ever since the draft, Zeev is our boy. We rooted for him to be drafted much earlier. He ends up getting drafted by Minnesota. Minnesota ends up trading him. I still root for Zeev Buyam. I think he's the must draft and breakout candidate all mixed into one.
I have a breakout candidate, and I'm going with Lekari Mackey. I think new coach, young coach. I think they finally decided that they're rebuilding. So these young guys will probably and should probably get more ice time. And I'm looking forward to him at camp earning a spot in the top 6 and trying to squeeze a power play 1.
All right.
All right. Are we ready, guys, for our bold predictions? Everybody's favorite part of the previews. We're going to go with Nick this time.
I mentioned it before. I'll mention it again. Braden Coots makes the team out of camp. That's my bold prediction. I know he's only 19 years old, which is why it's bold. Yeah. But, he's my boy. He's my boy, Blue.
My boy, Blue. Vince.
I put Besser scores 35 goals. This team is going to play more loose, more je ne sais quoi. No pressure. Like we said, they're in a rebuilding phase. So he can cheat a bit more offensively, so I think he can hit that 35 goals.
I'm expecting Gallagher to hit 30.
Wow.
Most of them on the power play.
Wow.
Can't have too bold predictions.
We went all episode without mentioning him. You had to mention
Well,
him.
Gallagher, man.
Actually, we mentioned them
He's
at
a
Who's
former
In.
30-goal scorer. He still has the heart. Put him in front of the net on the power play. You'll see what he can do.
My bold prediction is Marco Rossi has a career year, 65 points plus, making it 5 more than his career best, 60. Guys, that does it.
What a homer.
Where's Vancouver, like 20 episodes, where's Vancouver ending up?
Where they ended last year.
Everybody's in agreement?
Fighting for first overall pick.
Perfect. That's what I thought.
Hopefully they don't lose the lottery this time.
They have Dupont, then Bouillon pushes down, right? So do you really want the first, or would you rather go to second?
Well, they're saying it's not necessarily...
You take the first and you trade down.
Yeah.
They're saying that now it's not necessarily Dupont, like a guaranteed number 1 pick. There's 2 other guys pushing there.
I don't know who you're talking to, but for me it's Dupont.
I like Dupont.
From what they're saying is Dupont. All right, so that means you're on mute. We're on mute. Everybody's on mute.
Everybody's...
Have a good night, people.
All right, have a good night.